Hello. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. Let me get How's everyone doing tonight? I'm just setting up the mic. 1 second. It's a little strange. I know, I didn't have the mic on. I didn't have my mic on. I'm not liking this setup. We are early.
This is Global Tel Link. You have a prepaid call from Erickson, an incarcerated individual at the Pleasant Valley State Prison, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hi, MargeC.
Hey, Keith. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. What's going on?
Nothing. Been a long day already.
I'm sure. You're so busy.
Yeah.
And you're
I know.
I know. And you're taking on more.
Did Robert, yeah, I always do. Did Robert call?
Not yet. He said he would be calling.
Okay.
Is sound good,
Okay.
everyone? The sound is good? I know I didn't have the mic on in the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Tommy on there yet?
Tommy's here. Front and center.
Who else we got?
Right now, I'm just
who else
seeing
we got?
Tommy.
10-4, good buddy.
Okay.
Did you hear
What's
him?
up, Bubba?
Did you hear him?
Yeah.
10-4.
None hanging out.
Everyone's saying hi, Keith. Hi, Tommy. They're all saying hello.
Hi.
So what's going on, Keith?
Oh, nothing. I just, we had the dog meeting earlier today, and the last 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday now are like my busiest days because Wednesday I have college. Well, I got to work with the dogs all day, and then I got college at night. And Thursday now at night I have CGA, and then Friday work with the dogs for the daytime. And then the dog meeting, of course, in the afternoon until 4, and then I have that, hour time in between, and then now this live. So those 3 days are like my hectic days, but
Okay.
all right.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Let me
The
see.
Traughber book was uploaded last night onto Amazon, so I'm just waiting for it to clear. And then,
Oh, okay, because I was
think I'm-
looking for it. Is Vanessa here?
Huh?
Is Vanessa in the chat? Oh, Lauren, you know Vanessa. She just messaged me. Let me send her the link. Let me send it. I don't see her.
Okay. Yeah, she said she'd be on there. She said she wouldn't have the camera on, but she would be on there.
Okay, let me send her the link to this page. I know, I'm thinking if she's on the wrong account. I did send her the link to the page. Let me send her this link because we are doing it under charge with change now, but people are used to the Marge. Let me send this one now. I'll send it right now. I'll send it to her phone. And Edwin said he would be here also.
Okay.
Oh, did you hear that? Did you hear that Manny had to give up the dog he was training?
Oh, he did? Why? What happened?
Well, somebody adopted the dog, and he was so upset. Oh, he was so upset. He was so sad. Well, somebody adopted
it. Did the dog get adopted out?
Yeah, the dog got adopted out. I felt so bad. He was in tears, and guess who? Angel's like, could you let him know to let him know that to have honey ready? And I'm like, I have to let him know. He was so sad. I had to send him an e-card, everything to, I felt so bad. But he's okay. He's okay. Yeah. I told him he's not allowed to have any more dogs. He gets too attached. He's looking good, Tommy.
Was that a Frenchie that he had over there?
No.
Was that a Frenchie?
No.
Oh, no, it wasn't, no.
No, I don't even know. What was Honey? Does anybody remember what Lauren might remember what Honey was. Look at the cowboy.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember what Honey was.
Need a haircut.
Oh, okay.
I know, I can't remember, but he's getting a German Shepherd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's getting a German Shepherd.
We had a Malinois here, Shepherd. She just left.
Okay.
Her name was Shiloh. She was smart, but those dogs they have a lot of energy, and they're really mouthy. Like now I know why they're police dogs.
Yeah.
Because you could train them to get you. But yeah, I had never worked with one before, but she was so easy to work with. But again, she was also so you had to keep working with her because she had a lot of energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but she was smart. She just left earlier this week, and then we got two brothers and sisters that are Queensland healers, but they're like reddish color, red and white, and they're brother and sister. And we had the sister here for a couple months, and then we just brought her brother in the other day, and it was kind of cool when they saw each other. They were all happy.
Okay.
And, but again, they're high energy too.
Absolutely.
Like, they're cattle dogs, so they're used to rustling.
Yeah.
Rustling cattle. Yeah.
I got Eddie Blue sitting next to me, sleeping.
Oh.
He's been chasing wild turkey.
Ellie Blue.
Ellie Blue. Oh my God, Keith, the podcast went great last night. I was so nervous. I had all notes in front of me. I had them taped to my mirror in case I needed notes. And
really?
Ellie is so easy. And it went so good. And she has us booked. She's like booking me left and right. We're booked every Friday for the podcast. She's like, let's have this one on. Let's have that on. So we did good.
Yeah. What did you guys go over? Like what was the program?
Oh, wait a
An
minute.
incarcerated individual at the Pleasant Valley State Prison, Coalinga, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this. Thank you for using
You want to call back so we're on the same wavelength or what?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Call me right back. Hi, Robert.
Hello, how you doing, Mark?
Good. How are you? Keith's going to call right back, so you're on the same time.
All right. I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay, man. It's, weather's changing over here, so it's getting a little chilly out here at night. But other than that, it's all right. Everything's been going pretty good. Eh? And how about yourself? How's it over there where you're at?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. In the 80s. I'm getting ready to go in my pool tomorrow for the first time. Pool's finally done, so we'll be swimming tomorrow. And hi, Vanessa.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I'm going to just accept this.
Hey, how long did it take to finish it?
An incarcerated
What did it take
individual
us?
at
About
the
what,
Pleasant Valley
Chris?
State Prison,
My daughter's in here. I'm trying to
California.
think. How long did it take to
This
finish
call and
everything? Because we had the whole thing. Like, it's enclosed the
You have a
pool.
prepaid call. You will not be charged
Like
for
it's
this call.
enclosed and
To
screened.
accept this call, say or
I think
dial
about
pound
two
now.
months, like for everything. It's a saltwater pool.
Thank you for using
Um,
Global Link.
Yeah,
It's not bad.
it's saltwater. No, 2 months, like with everything. That's like everything complete. So it's done, and we're gonna
That's good.
have a nice weekend and go in the pool tomorrow. Before it's gonna get a little cool here, but
Oh, so you heated pool. You guys got a heater.
well, no, yeah,
heated
it's
pool
it's
too,
heated.
right?
We have a heater. We have a cooler because it couldn't get hot in Florida. So we have a heater, a cooler. It's salt water, and it is enclosed and screen.
pretty
It's
cool.
in a screen, like a lanai they
Oh,
call
yeah.
it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's all
That's
done.
pretty cool.
Really nice.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
that's
cool right
good.
there. That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
What's up, Keith?
What's up, buddy? So we got
Hey,
a
man, how
pond
you
over
doing
here.
over there?
It's not a swimming pool, but it's a pond. Fishes in it.
And Keith,
Put some fishes
Vanessa,
in
Vanessa
some
did
flowers.
join. Vanessa's here with us also.
Hey, bro, I'm here.
She's here.
What's up, sis? Hi.
Oh.
Hi, good to hear your voice.
Good to hear you.
Good to hear you. I'm glad to be here. Happy to support.
That girl right there is a go-getter. Marge,
Yes.
that girl right there is a go-getter.
Oh, yes, she is. I text with her. We talk.
Yeah.
We talk.
Yeah, we talk.
We
Yeah.
do. I don't just,
Go-getter.
she's just not up here now. Like, I text with her. I keep in touch.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
she does. Yeah, she I don't know how she does it, but she does it.
Absolutely.
I don't know how I do it either. I just left physical therapy because my body's feeling it.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure. Yep. But Keith, to answer your question, I did. So the podcast went great. So I was on a podcast
Yeah.
with an attorney yesterday. My first interview. I'm not used to getting interviewed. I usually do the interviewing. So I got interviewed by an attorney, Allie. So basically,
Yeah.
Keith, she wanted to know why I do what I do, why I do these prison calls, why I talk to prisoners, why I have a co-host who's incarcerated. And she has to ask those questions.
Yeah.
She knows you. She adores
Oh, okay.
you. You know that, Keith.
Yeah.
She knows Keith's story. She's been on our lives. So, I was a little nervous and I had my notes, my daughter printed out all my stuff. I had notes on my mirror in front of me because I sit at a vanity because I also do makeup lives during the day. And I had everything printed out. I didn't even need them. You know how Ellie is, Keith. So easygoing, straightforward. I didn't even need anything. So did really good. Just basic questions. Why do I do what I do? Why do I want to hear,
Yeah.
men and women out? Why do I want their stories? Why do I believe in second chances? Just basically everything. How did I meet Keith? How
Yeah.
do me and Keith do this every week? And it flows. So now next week she wants to interview Keith.
Nice.
And then the week after
Yeah,
that, so
I
she
think-
wants to go on and on. Like every Friday, she wants, Keith, we're going to go over that.
Oh, okay.
She wants you to pick who you
Okay.
want to have on each week. We want to do it every Friday, but she can do it as an attorney call. So we don't have to have the every 15-minute call back. So she could arrange it as an attorney call with the prison.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's a lot better,
pretty
right?
cool. Yeah.
Well, the
like
every
that.
15-minute drives her crazy. It don't bother me, but she, as an attorney, I guess it does bother her a little bit. So she said, Marge,
Yeah.
I'll just call the prison, arrange an attorney call. So they just set it up, and and it's usually an hour and 10-minute podcast, like an hour and 15 minutes. That's all it is. So she said, we can pick who we want. So of course she's like, who do you want first? And I said, is that a trick question? We're doing Keith
I
first,
wonder- I wonder how they would do that here. I can't. I'll have to find out because I don't know how they do that here.
Well, what they
I've
do,
never
she
really
said,
seen-
she
I don't
explained it. They call the prison and she arranges it, and they put you in. They just put you in a room and give you the phone. They put you on their phone,
okay.
and that's it.
Is she, if you don't mind me asking, is she an attorney in California?
No, she's an attorney in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania,
Oh, okay.
but
Yeah,
she knows attorneys everywhere. She knows attorneys everywhere. So
Yeah,
she's a
that's-
that's
that's
mine. She's really she's
Is that a fresh podcast? Is that a new podcast? That's a new one,
it's
right?
not it's not it's fairly new, but she's been doing it a little bit, but she wants to start doing it with it was my first time. Now she wants to start doing it with you, and she wants to do a few of the guys. She wants to see who we want to have on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's about, like I said, those. Yeah, I think it's the question she asked you is why do you do what you do? I think when we hear these stories, especially from the individuals, us, it's just more, because the regular news media feeds, they paint a completely different picture. And I think, the community gets this perception of us just based on our crimes, so
Right.
I think it's, like I said, I was just talking to somebody last night about the people that we had on here that came off death row at San Quentin. And I said, man, I learned so much just in those couple nights with him that I didn't even know about. I didn't even know that they were out here on the line and that they were still sentenced to death,
Right. So when we do it, Keith, it would be like myself and then you together. We can do it together. So,
Okay.
but it could be only one
Yeah.
person who's incarcerated and myself. So it'll be me and you, and then me, and then whoever we want to do next. And then Tommy, if you would be willing, one week, if you want to do the podcast with me, I would love to have you, Tommy. We'll talk. Yeah, I would like to have Tommy to do it with me one week.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I mean, if you want to.
No, that would be fun.
Yeah, I think you would be good to do that with too.
I was telling Keith the way they're going to do that is they're going to call him to the parole board room, and then do it.
Oh, okay.
That's what she explained,
Okay,
right?
okay.
They call you to a room.
Okay.
She sets it up. Okay, yeah, that's what she said.
It's in the complex between A and B.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then they
so,
might do it in
Yeah, so I got Vanessa. You guys don't know Roberto yet. We call him G over here, but he's on the other. He's on the other phone from here. He had just started. He had barely started dipping his toes in the CGA, so he started helping co-facilitate with somebody. So I think having him on tonight to talk about that is, it's kind of cool to see somebody fresh, working the steps and of course he's a former gang member and criminal, so, but the fact that he's fresh to the CGA, I think it's pretty cool. So I'm glad I got to have him.
Yes, he's on the other. He's on my other phone.
I think I was on here last time with Tommy and what's Vanessa? You said her name is? She's on the line too, right?
Vanessa's she's on my TikTok live right now. She's in a box with me.
Okay.
Yeah, she's on the live. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
And Tommy's on the
Hi,
live.
Vanessa. Hi, you guys. Hey, my name's Robert, Everybody here, they call me G over here, and it's nice to meet you guys. Tommy, I remember, I think I was on the podcast with you last time when we were talking about gangs and juveniles, and we ran one on that. How you guys doing?
Very good. Good to have you back.
All right, man.
Absolutely.
All right. Likewise, it's nice to talk to you guys again.
And Keith, Edwin is in the chat. Edwin's here. Edwin is here. Lauren did send him an invite, but he said he's currently on the move right now. He's not in a quiet place. So but he is here.
Okay.
Oh, we lost Vanessa.
Okay, yeah, so,
she'll request back. Hey, Paige.
Okay. Hello?
Yeah. Oh, there she is. She's back.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Edwin here. Hi, Tommy.
Hi, Vanessa.
I've been driving. Sorry. So I pulled over to say hi to everybody real quick. Is Edwin here?
Edwin's here. He's right there in the chat. He's listening.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi,
Vanessa, if you see anyone in the chat, or Edwin, if you see anyone and that we should let up, just let us know. We can let them up. My mods are in the chat. Lauren is there. We can let them up. I did invite Todd White, but he's not here right now. I did send the invite. I messaged him also. I texted him all week and let him know. He's not here just yet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can give up my spot so you can pull some more people.
Oh, we're good. I could pull up 9 people.
Okay, I'm hoping Edwin Edwin's got a lot of good stuff to say. So.
Oh, okay.
I'm hoping he's going to be down with having his voice heard tonight also.
Okay. And if it's noisy, you can talk and then you can mute. So you can talk, mute, you talk, mute, you can go back and forth.
I'm going to mute for now so I can hear better also, and I got to keep driving.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. So Keith, okay, let's do it. Okay. I mean, do you want to stay in chat, Edwin, or do you want to come up? It's up to you.
I'll open up real quick, and then I'll give a recap of last week or the week before, of course, because we had Halloween, and then we'll open up, and then I'll invite Vanessa and Edwin and Tommy to take over a little bit and share how CJ's transition out in the communities now. A lot of people are not aware of CJ being outside of prison, so our last live was basically we laid the foundation of what CGA is, Criminals and Gang Members Anonymous, and then we kind of touched on, Todd had touched on, his.
This call and/or telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
As Tommy, we shared a few of the steps 1 through 3, and basically shared our experiences of the addiction cycle of of how we got to where we were, the obsession, compulsion, progression, and the cycle that it takes us through, that loop, and how hard it is to get out of it, and like I said, we went through a few of the steps, and then so it was, and then I laid the groundwork for the guys out in the men and women out in the community, because this is something that like I said, a lot of people don't know that CJ is very active out in the community.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Formerly incarcerated men and women go back out into the community, and they still rely on one another. We still rely on the tools, the spiritual principles to guide them throughout their lives. So tonight we have Vanessa Rojas and Edwin, Tommy Traughber, and we have Roberto, who's here with me at Pleasant Valley State Prison, and of course my amazing host, MargeC. So what we'll do, Marge, is we'll turn it over to them. We'd like to just give them the platform and share with us how they transition CGA out into the communities and what current things are going on right now as far as group meetings, formats, availabilities and all that. So me and G will call back right now, MargeC, and then Edwin and them could take over right now.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right, call back. All right, and you know what I'm going to do real quick? Oh, okay, Lauren, can we pull Edwin back up? I'm actually, oh, okay. I'm going to pull myself up here because not everyone's finding us. Jamie couldn't find us, Keith's wife, so I'm going to pull myself up here so they can find Marge. Here we go. I'm going to put myself in a box.
Surrendered individual at the Pleasant Valley State Prison, Coalinga, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Okay.
Okay, I'm waiting for, here we go.
Oh, you will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Okay, and I'm not gonna, hi, and I'm not gonna keep myself up in the box too long. I'll drop in a little bit. I just want, because people are having a hard time. They're not used to charge with change, like being live all the time. So I'll just stay up here so people can find us. But we're ready.
Okay. Okay, yeah, so we'll hand it over to Edwin or Vanessa, either or, and just share with us, a little bit about yourselves and of course, you're both formerly incarcerated and how CGA has played a key role in your lives, and not only that, as you transition back out into the community.
Yeah, I can definitely share. Good evening, everybody. So my name is Edwin Cruz. And just real quick, I'm over here at a farmer's market. I had to bring my mother-in-law, so I won't be able to be on like too long. But I just wanted to say thank you all for the invitation. I really love what you're all doing. And so I'm formerly incarcerated. I served 17 years on a life without parole sentence. I was a gang member from a very young age, from the age of 15. But even before that, I was exposed to the gang culture very early on in my childhood through my dad, through my uncles, through my older cousins, and some of my peers' older siblings. So it was something that was just really normalized in the lifestyle. And I viewed the gang criminal lifestyle as just a way of life. And it really wasn't until I joined CGA that I realized that the gang and criminal lifestyle was essentially an addiction. Learning about the compulsion, obsession, the progression, that was something that was very impactful and eye-opening. And I realized that it was, it was something that I needed help with, and CGA helped me understand the aspect of that addiction and criminality. And yeah, it was very, very powerful. And I'm gonna have to pass it on because my mother-in-law keeps calling me. I do apologize, but I will definitely be around listening to you all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Edwin.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
My love to Roxy.
Go ahead, Nancy.
Okay, so thank you for having me on. Anything that Keith is doing, I'm going to support. Anything that any incarcerated person is doing that's positive, I'm going to support that because I do believe in giving folks a chance. My name is Vanessa Rojas. I grew up in Vista, California. I was an addict for a really, really, really long time. And I don't say that word lightly, an addict. I was an extreme addict. In my addiction, I was very extreme with my drug use. And of course, with that came the lifestyle, the criminal lifestyle, gang involved. But more for me, like, CGA talks about lifestyle addiction. I was also addicted to that lifestyle. And I really kind of, to put it in a nutshell, I really was thinking in a box during that time. Like, my life didn't exist outside of the borders of what I knew. That means like the borders of Vista, the borders of drug, that culture, that whole lifestyle. I couldn't even see a life outside of that. So I was introduced to CGA. I heard about it, but I was introduced to it from a good brother of mine. His name is Ray Shepard, and he was working for the Prism Way, and that's in Los Angeles, and invited me to a meeting, and I was just like blown away by it. So I wanted to be a facilitator, and I started going and getting trained by the actual one of the founding fathers of CGA. His name is Junior, and gave me the material, and just kind of, it was a trip, because when we would sit in meetings and we would have these conversations, he's like, "You're already a facilitator. You know this stuff." Everybody that I know that has sat in a CGA meeting has gotten something out of it. And the interesting thing about CGA and why I believe in it so much is because the institution, California Department of Corrections, recognizes that as a very transforming 12-step model that was created by us for us. When I say by us, it was created by the guys inside, and it was for us. Like, it was meant to be shared. And I believe in it. I haven't been to a meeting in a while. I miss being in community and just being in those meetings, because we all can relate to each other in those meetings. Even people who are not part of that lifestyle have sat in a meeting and have been blown away by it. So I don't know if that adds a little bit to what y'all are doing, but I just wanted to share that real quick, and I'm here to support.
Oh, without a doubt. Vanessa, you said what you said about living within that box. Like, we develop these belief systems that turn into our, mannerisms, and eventually they become habits. And that's what that lifestyle addiction is. It's, you made the comment of, you doing what you only knew. You didn't know what was outside that box. And for a lot of us, that were, former criminals and gang members, that's all we knew. That's what, our belief systems are manifestations of our things that we've been exposed to, exposures and experiences. So, those influences of people, places, and things, like, that's where our belief systems came. And so for me as well, like, stepping into a CGA here in prison is putting that you think are so much different. You realize when you're sitting in that room and you start to hear their stories and things that they've been exposed to as well, you realize that, those commonalities. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. Or what brings you guys together. And, it's like you said, when it comes down to it, that's all you knew. So, but once you know. So the more that we get in these CGA meetings and these community circles, and we start sharing with brothers and sisters, and we start, learning how to re-trust people, I think it's profound. And it's like you said, even with people that are not caught up in that gang, that lifestyle, they've been affected or impacted by it in some form or fashion, whether it's a brother or sister or uncle or cousin or close relative or friend. Like, somehow, some way, people are affected by the criminal, activity and the gang mentality. So, definitely what you had to share was very profound to what we're discussing here on this platform tonight.
Real quick, what just came to my mind right now, Keith, and the listeners, is CGA really, even before CGA, I think one of my main problems was not knowing my identity. And when I say that I didn't really know my identity is I thought my identity was this. I thought my identity was I'm an addict. I'm from Vista. I'm this, like part of that. That wasn't my real identity.
Right.
My real identity was me standing alone and standing on my own and walking away from that, because that was where I found my true purpose. And I think that when we're clouded by these false beliefs that we belong to this, we're going to die for this, we're going to put in work for this, that kind of strips us of our identity. So when we are able to see outside of that box, and we step away from that, then we're really walking in the power of our purpose. And I say that because I lived it. I lived it. I mean, people are like blown away by the person I am today compared to the person I was. And I really haven't had a chance to really like appreciate the difference, because I don't really, the person that I was, to me, was like, it's all a dream. It seems like a dream because I was just high all the time. So it's hard for me to relate to that person. Even though I know I was that person, my thoughts are different. I see that person is like a ghost to me, a shadow of my past. And I don't relate to that person. I understand that person now, but I cannot relate to that person. I can't even fathom how I got through life thinking the way I did.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I totally agree. Like you said, like I do the same thing. Like I think about where I was 15, 20 years from today, and it's like you said, I can't even relate to that person anymore. I can't even imagine how I had gotten to where I had gotten that low in my life. But at the same time, knowing that allows me to understand the cycle. So that's what CGA has done for me as well, is it helped me understand how people get to those steps in their life. How those influences, how those exposures, how those that development of self-worth or lack of self-worth, it just helps you understand more of how people get there. And so at the same time, it teaches you to be more empathetic and compassionate to people that are also struggling as well, because you always want to see yourself as, oh, I'm not like that person, or I was never that bad, or I was never this. So, that's what CJ has been able to do for myself. It's like you said, that identity is being able to stand on my own 2 feet. As scary as it was in the beginning, you realize that your purpose is far greater than, it's like, you're a believer as well, and God has a purpose for us, a plan for us that we don't even always know why, we had to go through what we've gone through. But the human spirit, people are resilient. That's one thing I realize. Like I tell people all the time, man, you don't know how resilient you are until you've actually tried, because the human spirit is freaking resilient. Think about all the stuff that we've been through in our lives, and that we've been able to overcome. It's pretty powerful,
And what's called, and it's crazy when Vanessa was talking there, that whole thing was about her identity and all that. It's crazy because that is our identity. I remember when I was younger, I think I was probably like 14 years old, and I'm from San Bernardino area. I'm from over there in that part of that neck of the woods, and they had this Stop the Violence rally. I think it was like 1994 or something like that. And well, of course, every gang member in the city and the city around there was there. Yeah. And I remember I got stopped by one of the reporters. We were walking through the crowd, and she stopped us and she asked me a question like, where was I from? And I told her where I was from and all that stuff. And I think the last question she asked me, like, would you be willing to die for this? And I told her, I said, yeah, I would. Yeah, of course I'd be willing to die for this. That was what it was. And I was only 14 years old when I answered that question. And that, like she said, that was our identity. That's what we were. That's what we believed in. That there was like no other. It was crazy because there was no other future that I saw for myself other than that. And well, that's a pretty sad existence. It is. It really is.
Yeah. So one of the, we have a workshop, you know,
You have 60 seconds remaining.
we have various workshops within, you know, CGA steps, and, you know, I just...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Week 3, and it starts talking about the belief system. So when we come back, Robert, I want to ask Vanessa
You have
a series
60
of
seconds
questions
remaining.
in regards to belief systems, and, you know,
All right.
Okay. He disconnected, Robert.
All right. We're gonna-
Call us back. Okay. Vanessa, do you see anyone here that
I do. I'm kind of calling him out right now. I don't know if he wants to just stay private. I'm calling out my bro Efrain. If he's here, he's an he's works for Initiate Justice. So I just completed his cohort, the Impacted Leaders cohort. And I'm hoping he'll jump on because oh my gosh, this guy's got amazing insight and things to say.
Keith Erickson.
Okay, because they could request a box at the bottom, or my mods could let them up. If we know, you know, they just call out their names, they could let them up.
You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call,
That has
or
Global
dial
Telling.
5 now.
You have a prepaid call
Thank you
from
for using Global
Robert
Telling.
Fernandez.
an incarcerated individual at the Pleasant Valley State Prison, Coalinga, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say, "Thank you for using Global Tel Link."
Okay, we're back.
Okay,
All right,
so
good.
one of the CGA steps, step 4 to be exact, you know, it requires us to take a, you know, search fearless and moral inventory of our, you know, our lives, you know, the good that we've done, the bad, any resentments we may be holding on to. And I know when I worked the step, Vanessa, it required me to go back and, like, it was, I created that timeline and I thought about, like, when was the period in your life where you were really ready and willing to challenge your belief system, your old belief system? Because obviously we had a belief system that kept us in that lifestyle. Like, do you remember a period in your recovery where you were like, okay, like, I'm sober now, I'm getting where I need to be. It's time I'm going to put my plan into action. I'm going to challenge old beliefs. I'm going to get outside my comfort zone. Like, can you trace back to where that break in character actually happened for you?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember the exact moment. I was in federal prison and all the homegirls from California, like there was a handful of us. We were in Tallahassee, Florida, and all the homegirls from California were there and they were all going in the shoe, getting in trouble for I don't want to say the dumbest things, okay, because we've all done dumb things, but for things that I just really outgrew and didn't want to be a part of anymore. And
Yeah.
it was more important for me to come home to my family than it was to conform to that.
Your phone number will be monitored and recorded.
So when I made the decision, I think at that time, I made a decision that, you know what, I'm going to do my time alone. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a part of any of it. I'm okay standing on my own and walking my own walk by myself. And I think that, and was still cool with all of them. Don't get me wrong. Like, I got love for all of them, and I still talk to some of them. I've lost track of a few, but one of them even got released to the halfway house that I was at and was my bunkie while we were there. But they still are, you know, part of that. And I don't want to be part of that. I feel like I said, that kind of keeps you stuck and keeps you stagnant and like it suppresses your growth spiritually, mentally, emotionally. And I just didn't want to be that, you know, and to me it was like, what was more important? Like, weighing it out. Is it more important for me to feel accepted and to be a part of, or was it more important for me to stand alone, come home and do something for them, hopefully? And so that was like maybe about right before I started the residential drug abuse program inside the federal prison. It's called RDAP. And it was right before that I came to that moment where no, I don't want to be part of this. I don't. So that was when my kind of like pivotal moment when I made that decision. And then of course I went, my whole prison bid was dealing with one family crisis after another, back to back to back to back. And that was kind of what took my focus away from even myself and all that was going on around me. And it actually also kind of consumed me, from really learning and doing introspection, just so worried about the outside and what they were going through and not really doing the work on me. So when I, was at a really, really desperate low point during my bid where I, got on my knees and just, I had lost my faith. And so when I found my faith, when I had my encounter with God, that's when everything changed. And that's kind of, in a nutshell, how that happened for me.
Yeah. What about yourself, Robert? Thank you for sharing that, Vanessa. That was,
Thank
very,
you.
very insightful.
Yeah. For me, my change came like after I committed this crime. I made this choice to commit this crime. I got 25 years for a gang-related shooting, and I remember I was in that safe. I was in the hole, and I was in the county jail fighting my case for 5 years. They had me in this hallway with 4 cells, no windows, you can't see outside, and you're like in a hallway. You're basically in a hallway with a shower at the end and a phone at the other end. And there's only 4 cells in there, and I'm sitting in this cell, and I sat there and I thought I was replaying this whole thing over and over. All the things that I've done for the benefit of the gang, for the homies, for this cause. This cause, I mean, you would really ask anybody what this cause really was. I mean, nobody could really give you an answer to that, what the cause is, but it's always for the cause, And I kind of sat and went through this whole thing, and I just reviewed my past. I mean, I wasn't even familiar with CGA at the time, and it's crazy because at this time I was already working the steps without even knowing that I was working the steps.
Right.
I mean, and I took a close look at all these things, and I realized how wrong it was, how wrong my perceptions were, how wrong my thoughts were, how wrong my views were. And I started to question, where did I get these views? Where did these things come from? How did they get installed in me? And I started looking where these views and all these things came from, and I'm looking at those sources that put those views and kind of indoctrinated me with these thoughts and this ideology. And I looked at those guys to see where they were at. And a lot of them are dead, and the other of them are in prison for the rest of their life. And I actually had to sit here and and make a choice. I had to sit here and make a choice. And I've been coming like I shared last time. I've been doing this since I was a kid. I mean, I've been involved in the system. I've been stuck in here since I was a kid. And there has to be a better way. This is insanity, And now that I'm familiar with CGA, I understand the OCP progress. I get it now. It kind of put everything into a perspective for me. But at the time, I didn't know what it was. I never even heard of CGA. So I sat in there and I did something that I haven't done in a long, long time. And I prayed. And
right.
A lot of things. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, and I started to read the Bible, and there was a lot of things that were revealed to me, truthful things of love, things of compassion, empathy, all these different, pretty much the opposite of what I've been doing my whole life. It was the opposite of that. And I made the decision
Right.
To walk away from the gang. You know, I walked away from the gang. I dropped out, and it was the best decision that I've ever made for myself, for my family, for everybody who loves me, and for other people that I've been able to assist with their change and with their decisions. That you know, like I'm doing my best to pass this on. So when I get to Calapat, I get sentenced, I get out of the county jail, and I come to Calipatria State Prison, right here in California, and somebody asked me if I wanted to go to a CGA meeting, and I didn't even know what CGA was. I was like, what is that? They're like Criminals and Gangs Anonymous. And I was like, really? They have one of those? They have one of those? Like, I never heard of it, you know, and they're like, yeah, they have one of those, and they're pretty much in every prison in California now. So I went to one of these meetings, and I got introduced to these guys, a bunch of guys in the group, and they were on the same path that I was. As a matter of fact, they trudged the path before me, and
Right.
I was able to find comfort there. I found comfort. I felt understanding. I seen you guys. We understood each other. Like, we were just tired of the bullshit. You know, we were just tired of it.
Yeah.
And they had to find a new way, and I had to find a way, and we're finding this path together in this group, and we found this camaraderie and this brotherhood in this group, and I haven't stopped since. I've been attending the meetings. I attended them over there in Calapat, and then when I got transferred here to Pleasant Valley, it took a little while for me to get in, but I got in, and I'm glad I did. And now, as of recently, the guy that teaches CGA, he asked me if I would be willing to facilitate, and I told him, hey, I would think about it, you know, because I would take something like that very serious. You know, that's to me, it's a change is it's serious business. It's real business, you know, and you have to be genuine about your change. And it's not a decision that I would make lightly or half-heartedly or willy-nilly. I'm not going to do it like that because this is not that type of a decision, you know. So I'm thinking about facilitating the class, and but that's when my change began. You know, it was a realization that, man, I'm tired. I was tired of being tired, you know, and that's pretty much how it happened for me, you know.
All right.
You know, thank you for sharing that, Robert. You know, the irony in this is, you know, becoming a gang member, you know, getting caught up in that addiction cycle. Like, we're taught, and it's instilled in us not to challenge whatever beliefs are handed to us. Whatever line of crap that's being fed to us, we're told not to challenge that. And here we are going through this process of recovery and this self-identity and just rediscovering who we were meant to be. And we're asked to start challenging those beliefs that were, like, you know, that were handed to us, that we were exposed to. And I just think that's ironic because here we are now. We're challenging those old beliefs that were handed to us, and we're in order to move forward in the steps in our recovery and you know, to find that balance between our past and our future. Like, you have to challenge, and it's not just when you do a self inventory. It's not just in step 4 and step 10 where you do, you know, you revisit and do a daily inventory. It's like you said, it's an everyday process of how, because those old beliefs are going to pop up, and I'm sure Vanessa and Tommy can attest to this. Is just because they're not in here anymore, old belief systems still, you know, rear up and show.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Whatever situation you're in.
Right.
You know, so. Yeah, I just think it's so ironic that now we are challenging, you know, we're asked to challenge the old beliefs. And another thing that I do want to talk about too is, you know, when you started knowing that moment where, okay, this is it, I am tired, like, I'm done, I don't know what's ahead, but right now, what matters right now is the fact that I need to hold on to this moment and tell myself, hey, whatever the process of change is going to be, I'm done.
Okay.
You have to ask yourself, who do you want to be, and why, and then not only that is you start analyzing like what obstacles are in my way that's going to keep me from finding that medium, that balance between my past and my future. Because that's the hardest thing is going back and revisiting your past. It's because, I started asking myself a lot of questions. Am I worthy? Am I supposed to be anything other than what I've been?
You have 60 seconds remaining.
So that was my hardest thing, We'll call that Margie.
Okay.
Is Tommy
All right,
still
Marge,
on?
Yeah, Tommy's here.
I am.
You want to take over, Tommy?
Yeah. I just been listening, been enjoying I don't think I heard Vanessa. I've seen her speak in prison a couple times, doing stuff.
Okay.
So it was interesting to hear her story in that regard because I don't think I had before.
Oh, okay.
Not that aspect of it. So it was good to hear. I don't know. For me, I'll let the calls come in.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have them call back.
Yeah.
He's there.
Oh, there they are.
An incarcerated individual at the Pleasant Valley State Prison.
This is why Allie doesn't, that's why she wants to do the attorney calls.
Yeah. Exactly.
When she's on my live, she can't handle these. She's funny.
To accept this call.
So I'm happy she's going to do this for these guys. I really am. I'm so happy.
This is Global Telling. You have a prepaid call from
Robert Fernandez.
an incarcerated individual at the Pleasant Valley State Prison, Coalinga, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, thank you for using Global Tel Link.
So Keith, Tommy was going to talk now because he was waiting for the calls to come in.
Okay.
So go ahead, Tommy.
Okay.
So what Keith was talking about was like that nexus, that break in our character that sent us down the path to where we are today, right? And mine came kind of like over a little bit of time. I remember when I left, like technically left the gang life and all that stuff, and I dropped down. I went to this SNY yard, and I went over there, and I was alone for the first time in my whole life that I can remember, from youth authority all the way through prison. First time I was, kind of not involved in anything. And I found myself kind of like pulling back. I remember one specific day we were out on the yard and there was a group of whites that were all gathered together. And there was an incident going on with a group of Mexicans. And, I was standing in the group of whites and, not even asking myself why until it clicked. What am I doing? I didn't come over here for this. I came over here to go home. And so I asked the guy, hey, what's the problem with you and the Mexican? And the guy told me you owed him some money over some drugs. And I said, dude, you're on your own. And I walked away. And after that point, I told myself I'd never get involved again with anything like that. The gang lifestyle for me was something that for a long time, if you would have asked me if I was a gang member, I'd have told you no. It wasn't until I started participating in CGA that I realized that, yeah, I was a gang member. I was participating in gang activity. I might not have identified myself as a gang member, but I was a gang member in every action that I took and the decisions that I made and the lifestyle I was living. That was an eye-opener for me because it meant I had to take an additional set of accountabilities that I didn't have before. And a whole different set of,
Call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Different set of apologies and a different set of, remorse, things, and just identifying victims as a result of that, right? So, because when we go to the parole board, and Robert, I don't know if you know or the other guys know, but I actually facilitate CGA inside Soledad State Prison. Right, as part of the ARC, and why it's so effective for us. I'm going to share a story about a friend of mine who I'm gonna. It's a contrast. I want to use his story as a contrast. He went to prison for a shooting that he was involved in. He was not the trigger man. He got a life sentence. California has the law, or had the law, and it's still kind of in effect, but not as like it was. Felony murder rule. Somebody dies in the commission of a felony, you go to prison, even if you're not the trigger guy. He was one of those. He went to prison, never did anything, just sold dope, used phones, did everything. Well, the law changed, and he ended up going home. A couple days ago, he was involved in shooting 4 individuals at a restaurant in Sacramento, right? And so he'd been out for about 3 or 4 years, selling drugs, back to the same lifestyle he was living before he went to prison. And then I look back at all the guys that got out who had to go to the parole board, who went to the classes and did the work. And these same people are faced with the exact same frustrations and the exact same scenarios in which this guy used to shoot people. And instead, we're making the right decisions. We're backing up. We're walking away. We're giving ourselves time to think. We're,
Using your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
We're using all those skill sets and those tools that we learned in these groups, in CGA, and emotional intelligence, all the classes that we took, and all the tools that we developed through Gogi or whatever it is you've taken, and we're becoming very successful people out here. And I don't measure my success on how much money I have or things that I might own, but I just meant on the good lifestyle that I live, and the good lifestyle that are lived by others that have done the work. And it's because you are able to identify those character flaws and those character defects through programs like CGA that allow you to elevate yourself beyond all of that and able to make true good decisions based on righteous morality. When we still live in that lifestyle, we end up back in prison. We end up falling back on those old behaviors, because Keith talked about it a little bit. Yeah, you're going to be faced with stuff out here, and you're going to get faced with those old mindsets, but it's what you do with that determines your success. My friend, he went back to his old ways, and he ended up back in prison. He's never going to get out. He's on the run right now. I don't know where he's at, so don't ask him. But and Keith, him. He was on the yard with us, and just one of those situations, man. It to me, it just doesn't make any sense. But I understand if I hadn't done the work, I'd be him too. I think that is the important factor, right? For all of us, and is identifying those. And we talk about, and I think that was one of the things that attracted me most to CGA was when we started doing our moral inventories. We had to identify the good that we had done as well, rather than just focused on all the bad stuff that we did. But it's also to humanize us again and remember that we're not all bad. We never were. Even in the midst of our insanity, we still had moments where we did good things. And it's important to remember that and to build on that. What were you thinking at that time? What were you feeling at that time? How did it make you feel to do those things? You know what I mean? And then remember that and build on it, That's my piece.
Yeah. It's crazy, because going back to the moment when I asked you guys, when did you start noticing that moment or that series of moments where you knew you wanted to change? Like, was there, do you think it's essential that you literally have to visualize where you're going or where you want to be in order to capitalize on that moment of change? Like that change process, it is necessary to actually visualize an end goal of where you want to be. How significant was that for you? Did you start knowing right away? Did you have a vision of how your life was going to be?
I don't think in the beginning, no. I think in the beginning for me, it was like I was done hurting people. So I don't know. I haven't talked about this a lot, but there was an incident that took place where I was misidentified as another inmate, and 2 inmates attacked me, stabbed me 18 times, right? In one of those incidents, I had a cut on my face, and right after that, my mom came to visit me in AdSeg, and she seen the cut and the stab wounds, and Some of them, the ones that were visible, like on my arms and in my face. And I can't imagine. I mean, the amount of pain and fear that I seen in her eyes at that moment. And my mom's a strong woman. I couldn't. And when I went back to the cell, I was so afraid for her. I went back to the cell, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, "Oh man, I can't believe my mom seen me that way." There was a bit of shame, but also it clicked in my head. How many moms did I do that to? You know what I mean? How many people, family members, had to go see their kids after I had attacked them or ordered them attacked, or for whatever reason they were harmed as a direct result of the lifestyle that I was living. And that's when I was like, I don't ever want to do that again. I don't ever want to be on the other end of that again. I don't ever want somebody else's family members to see or feel that fear that I seen in my mom's eyes that day. So I was done. At that moment, that was it. It was over. And I haven't done it since. I haven't harmed anybody since. I'm not saying that I haven't wanted to or thought about it, but I'm also always reminded of the repercussions. And I'm not talking about incarceration, but the people that get hurt, that's just the beginning of the shockwave. That's the beginning of the ripple effect, right? And and so many different people and agencies are affected in such a negative way as a result of those types of actions. That's why that was that moment where I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing that no more at all. Just it personalized it. We get so good at separating that stuff from in our brains. We're able to shut that part of it off. But that's one of those times when you can't shut it off because it affected you personally. And I'm not talking about the physical, but just the emotional, and so
it's a disconnection from your actions. It's like you said. It's like you're on autopilot. Like you've literally just disconnected yourself from any action that your body is doing, that you physically are doing. Yeah. It allows you
to justify it.
To dehumanize and not feel those things that you suppress, whether it's empathy for that person or shame or guilt. Tommy, like I can. There's a lot of people that won't admit that. The first year or two, or however long it took in whatever self-help group it is, like CGA. You go in there with the mindset of, even though you're retired, you go in there. A lot of guys go in there and they want to learn the steps. They want to memorize them. They want to.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
So when I went into a CGA group last night, it was the first time I went to CGA on this since I came from D-Yard, and I seen guys the way that the group. Some of the guys were sharing it, and I can relate to it because I was there, where I wanted to learn the steps, but today I understand now the significance of I want to experience the process of the steps, not just learn the steps. Because we could sit here and memorize and identify what character defects are and what triggers are and all of this and spiritual principles. But for me, it wasn't until I started allowing myself to experience them was where I started really getting the value of what CGA is in recovery altogether. Just like you said, when you go through trials and tribulations out there in real life now that you're not incarcerated, now you're at a place where you appreciate those trials and tribulations because it adds value into your recovery and the fact that you have the tools now to cope with those things and identify them and make sense of them and not be hard on yourself because you have a right to feel an emotion, whether it's anger, guilt, shame, or whatever. Like, it's like you said earlier, it's what you do with that counts. And that's what's going to transcend in the end. And that's what's going to count is what you do with those things. So for me, like when I sat in that meeting, I wanted to shout out to everybody like, man, you need to experience this process, not just come in here and memorize the step or, that's the thing is to allow yourself to experience it. Because that's
Every
where the authenticity comes
I've learned since I've come out that every obstacle that I am faced with out here is an opportunity for growth, right? So
This telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
every time I'm faced with a situation to where it's like a roadblock to get to where I want to be in the next 10 years, I'm able to stop, evaluate it, and understand what it is and how to get around it, right? Or get by it or work through it, right? Because there's always going to be these, sometimes you can just get around it, sometimes you can't. I mean, and I'm speaking metaphorically, but also realistically, sometimes you just have to trudge through it. You just have to trudge through it. And they say in CGA, that we follow the path of those who's they trudged it before us, and that is so true. That is so true. But at some point, we got to start trudging our own path so others can follow as well. You know what I mean? Because there's not just one way to success or one way to recovery, right? But we follow until we're able to lead. You know what I mean? And but we can't get to that leadership position without first going through some hardships, going through some setbacks, and then sitting back, evaluating, and moving forward. I'll let you guys call back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Tommy knows the routine. Hey, Angel. Vanessa had to drop. She's driving right now, so she said she'll join us next week.
Okay.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, she had to text me real quick. I didn't realize. Yeah. So is this I know you were on here once before with Vanessa, and you've seen her in facilities,
This is
right?
Global Tel Link. You have a prepaid call from
Keith Erickson.
an incarcerated individual at the Pleasant Valley State Prison, Coalinga, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call.
Global Tel Link.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Robert Fernandez.
An incarcerated individual
Okay.
at the Pleasant Valley State Prison, Coalinga, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, thank you for using Global
Okay.
Tel Link.
Okay.
What were you saying, Marge?
You met Vanessa before, right? You weren't alive with her, right?
Yeah, I've been on lives with her too, but I also have her personal phone number. I talk to her
Right.
sometimes.
Okay. I wanted to make sure. Yeah, I thought so.
Well, I was introduced to her through Keith. Also, she used to come in with the Rising Scholar program, which is a program that helps people get like scholarships and stuff for school when they get out of prison, like people getting out of prison, people who are system impacted in some way or another. And so I've kind of stayed in contact with her because part of my goal is to go back to school and get my master's. And so I kind of stayed in touch with her on that. Also, just helping other people, like, okay, who in the area can I contact? Because she's not from my area, so who in my area can I contact? And she'll have a list, like a directory,
Oh,
who I
okay.
can talk to about getting that.
Oh, okay.
So,
And she had Vanessa had to drop. She's on her way home. She was driving,
Okay.
so she said
Yeah,
that she'll be back next week with us.
Okay, yeah, she's so resourceful that woman's got a lot of contacts and she's got a lot of great relationships with people in the community. So
Yeah, she actually
And
asked
she's
me
got a
to
lot of
call her
wisdom,
tomorrow.
wisdom.
So she asked me to touch base with her tomorrow.
hey Keith, you want to hear something funny?
yeah.
Your friend Abby Anchor called me in the middle of the night the other day, drunk as hell.
Really?
Yeah, he just wanted to talk, but it was funny because I was like, "What's wrong with you?" He goes, "Oh, I've had like 6 martinis and a couple of these." I was just like, "What the?"
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
my God.
Yeah, but I was like, all right.
Oh, Edwin, okay. I'll be back on next week and participate more. All right. Thank you, Edwin. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Edwin.
Edwin will be back on next week.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, we were talking about the moment, and then, having that attitude. Like, I'll be honest with you, and Robert can tell you too, like, waking up in here, doing the same thing every day, like, it's just, no matter how much you're staying the course, like, I used to hear that thing where people say, be true to yourself. Like, I remember going through my change, and people always, I always heard that, and I'm thinking, man, like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't even know who I am. Like, how do I be true to myself when I don't even know who I am? I don't even get to think for myself or do for myself. And I think that was the hardest part for me, is like, I've confided in you, Marge, in the last couple of weeks, and I tell you, like, when it feels heavy, like, I'm like, man, I'm going on 32 years in here, and, I have my wife and my kids out there, and, like, I think to myself, like, how long do I have to, keep doing this? Like, I think that having that attitude is important for me to get up every morning, but at the same time, like, it's the same thing every day, but I do understand now what it does mean to be true to myself, because again, CGA teaches us about spiritual principles,
Right.
and it's all those things, like, being honest, being kind, being thoughtful, being selfless. Like, it's all these principles that we know are in total conflict.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
How we used to live our lives, and I think sometimes in a world like this, like in prison, and I think Robert could tell you where it can be so ugly. Sometimes it feels like you're playing tug of war with evil, between good and evil, because you're surrounded by so much ugliness, and you're like, man, you feel like it's hard to lose sight and think that, man, the ugliness is being rewarded while the goodness is not,
Right. Right.
Well, what's called that whole thing about the ugliness thing and all that stuff, right? I noticed it, like, and I noticed it, like, when just in the conversations, like when I'm on the yard, or I'm walking around, or you can hear that you pick up these conversations that are going on around you, and I don't. It's crazy, because I don't fit into that no more. Like, I sit back and I think now, like, damn, did I sound like that? And I'm like, yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I did. It's not worse, And now I just don't feel like I fit in those type of conversations, or in those groups, or in that. Yeah.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I don't fit in that no more. And I guess, well, that's how you know that a lot of things have changed. And Tommy, when you were telling us about when you came to this other side over here, and you found yourself among that group, and you decided, like, that right there was the decision right there. That was one of the main decisions right there that you made for yourself.
Absolutely.
To really truly walk away, because how many of these guys that you think here that you see, or that that decided to drop out of the game and to come to the SNY side A, so where they feel support, they could do that type of thing, and they just come over here and they get entangled in the same old thing, and they end up being in another game. And they end up being in another game, and it's like, I couldn't. Like, when I came to this side, I made my decision. There was no way in hell that I was gonna drop out of one game and come over here and join another game. That was not even an option. And that decision right there. When you make that decision, like, I am not gonna be part of this anymore. Any of that, I'm not gonna be entangled in that anymore. that was a pivoting point, I think, in your life. And I feel when you told us the story about the friend of yours that had got out on the felony murder rule, and that happened over there. I think you said in Sacramento or San Francisco or something like that, right?
Yeah, Elk Grove. Yeah, Sacramento.
Yeah, see, and that right there is like, man, that's kind of heartbreaking to hear that. You know, it's like, man, like, you got out. You know, the doors opened for you. And, well, I guess he probably found himself in that same situation where you were at. You know, he probably found himself surrounded by all that negativity, all the gang stuff, all the criminal behavior. He just found himself all entangled in that and didn't make the decision that you made to be like, you know what, I'm not going to be entangled in this anymore.
Yeah, and you know what though, and that's part of that was the decision when I decided, because when I first went to SNY Yard, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to hang out. There was no whites tables. There was no Mexican tables. There was just people. And so I was confused. I was lost, as you know. And so what I did was I knew some dudes from over there that were over there. So I started hanging out with them, not realizing that I was falling right back into that same pattern of behavior. But that was that moment where I said, you know what, I'm done. And, you know, they respected me for that. Everybody there that were in that circle, they respected me for that. You know, I wasn't a jerk about it. I just said, "No, you go do your own thing. I'm not over here to fight somebody else's wars anymore." For one, I never used drugs in my life. And I remember being on the main line. I spent 15 years in the SHU over other people's drug debts. You know, and I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. You know, that was part of the reason I left. You know, is I was done dealing with other people's stuff. But also, I wanted to go home. It wasn't about going home. Like, in the beginning,
number will be monitored and recorded.
In the beginning, it was about going home. Before I got out, I realized it wasn't about going home. It was about being free. And I had been free for years before I got out. You know, and I think that was the huge thing, right? And like you were saying, you're walking around the yard listening to people's conversations. I don't know how many laps that I spun with Keith that we did the same thing, man. We'd be talking about the dog program, and we'd be talking about something positive, and all these little conversations that we walk by, all they're talking about is the same old bullshit, you know. And it just, and we were those people at one point, you know. And it doesn't change because they don't want it to change. You know what I mean? They haven't sought that change. That they haven't hit that rock bottom, you know. Everybody's bottom is different.
Absolutely.
And with Keith, man, like
Junior, thank you for stopping in. We're looking forward to next week. Thank you.
Absolutely. That's somebody I would really, really love to meet. He's one of the founding fathers of the program, and if it weren't for him, I don't know that I'd ever gotten out. You know, if it weren't for the program that he developed, I don't know that I would have ever gotten out. You know, it opened up your eyes to so many, because I didn't fit into NA and AA, and no matter how many times I tried to apply those principles to my life, there was always these roadblocks, these things that got in my way, because I wasn't a drug addict. And when I went into an NA or AA program and I said, okay, I'm not an addict.
Your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I always got pushback, you know. And so, it's kind of, you know, I was, you know, Keith knows. I mean, I even had Keith, you know, Mike Carter, right? So he was one of the ones, why you here then?
Yeah.
And I'm like, because the board told me I need to go to the 12-step program, and that was the only one available, you know. But then CGA came along, and, you know, that was more along my lane, you know.
I think the biggest misconception people that could have in that recovery, like, because influences are always going to be there. They're always going to be present. Like you said, like, you're not just going to navigate your world outside, in here or outside of there, where you're going to be around things that you used to do. You know, you have to change your belief system, your attitude towards it. It's not like you're never going to be faced with that stuff. But you have to identify who you are, who you were, why you reacted to certain things the way that you did, and be prepared. Like you'll be that much more equipped to deal with stuff like that when it does happen. Like yourself. Like just, if anything, the world is full with more influences than you're going to find in here. It's just in a more confined area in here. So.
And I think it's important, like when you get out of there eventually, and Keith, you'll get out of there eventually. It's about the people you surround yourself with, right? If you go right back to the same types of people you were hanging out with before you came to prison, you're going to end up back in prison, But if you go around there and you got a support network that is positive, that is encouraging you to do well, and there's also this thing about setting healthy boundaries. Know what you want out of your life. And don't let anybody else tell you can't have it. You know what I mean? Or don't let anybody else try to make you live the life they think you should live, And I think that was one of the things I got out and I dealt with my family was they all had an idea of what I should do with my life, right? But that fit their narrative and what was good for them, but it wasn't what was good for me, And so I actually had to separate myself from my family for a while. And go on my own and just do my own thing, until my family realized that, wait a minute, he's got his own goals and his own life that he wants to live. And as long as it's not negative and it's not hurting people and it's not, criminal, who cares? Let him do it, And I wanted them to be a part of it as well, And so... Call back.
Okay. Yes, Robert, you want to call back?
Yeah, I'm going to call back.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Bye. So, are you familiar with Junior also?
I know who he is. I've never met him or talked to him, and I'm be honored to be able to speak.
That would be great. I know. So next week seems like it's going to work better.
Yeah, it's funny because the program that he created, helped create, is one of the ones that I teach when I go into prison,
Oh, okay.
So all the ones that I facilitate were created by other people.
Oh, okay.
An incarcerated individual.
Did you say, do you go into Soledad?
Yeah, CTS Soledad?
Yeah.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I have a couple guys that I talked to over there. I met through Angel.
Yeah. In their dog program over there?
Yeah. Do you know Brian?
No. I think you asked me that before.
Tommy Rhodes?
I know Tommy Rose, yeah.
You do?
Yeah, but I don't know him from in there. I know him from other prisons.
Oh, okay. I just started talking to Tommy.
Okay.
Okay.
You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call,
I'll be going back in there probably next week or the week after.
Okay.
So.
Okay, yeah, because Tommy wants to do something for Angel, like a live and help her out a little bit. Yeah, loves the dog program, which I told him we're going to do that. We're going to do that. We did something yesterday for Angel. I surprised her.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't even know it, Keith. We had a little something on my live. My friend Matt created a flyer for her and a little commercial with a song, and my girls got together and they donated money to her yesterday.
That's good.
They did. So we're gonna help Angel out a little bit, as much as we can. We're gonna try to help her out.
Yeah.
Yep. She's good people.
Rob, gee, what step were you guys in your last CGA meeting?
We're starting all over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're on. So I walked in there last night. They're on. They were recapping on step 2, and then they went into step 3. And I remember this young man had asked. We were talking about letting go of destructive self-will, and character defects came up, and he's like, well, what are character defects? Like, we told him their behaviors and habits, that caused you that became problematic in your lifestyle, that resulted in you being here.
Yeah.
Everybody was trying to identify for him what these were, that what he had to let go of,
Like one thing is lying, right?
After I walked out of there,
That is one of the biggest ones, and it's not just lying to other people;
you can't
it's lying to yourself.
point out what, you have to, it's like me telling you have a problem. And one is if you don't admit that you have a problem, it has to be a a problem that you see as a problem. Otherwise, it's gonna be minute on that person. So I thought about it when I walked out of there, and so when I see that guy again, I want to pull him up and kind of spend a little time with him. And
Well, you know what was real helpful for me, man, was I made that whiteboard. Remember, I used to have that whiteboard in myself, and I put on there one day all my who I wanted to be, not who I was, but who I wanted to be. And I wrote it out like a good father. I mean, a good husband, a good person, a good citizen, all these different things. And then I wrote character traits that they embodied, and I found the 6 character traits that they kind of all embodied at some point or another, and I wrote those off to the side, and I said, well, I got to incorporate those 6 into my life, but in order to incorporate those 6, I got to take out others that are bad, and one, like the first one was honesty, right? And I'm not talking about, and I don't mean honesty by saying telling the truth. I say honesty by living an honest lifestyle. Everything has to be above board. Can't do anything underhanded, right? Then it leads into integrity, right? So that leads into integrity. So anything that I'm doing outside of my cell, I have to be doing in the cell too. Living the same lifestyle, not just when people are looking, but when people aren't around either. And a perfect example is that as I walked out of freaking Home Depot the other day, I had made some keys, but I had bought some bunch of other stuff, and I forgot to pay for the keys. When I got to the car, I was like, oh shit. And I went back in there, and the old lady, she was like, oh, don't worry about it, it's just some keys. I'm like, it's not just some keys. You know what I mean? I went in there and paid for them. I don't care if it's only $6. The point is, the person that gets in trouble for it's not me, it's the person who made the keys.
Right.
That has to be accountable for those, So, and I don't want to live that life anyway, because then they start cutting corners. I used to tell people all the time, in order to get out of prison, you got to be a square. The old term square, right? But as soon as you start cutting corners,
Your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
you're no longer square when you start cutting little corners. And when you make excuses to cut little corners, you'll start making excuses to cut bigger corners. And so that's what I mean by being honest and being integrity, right? Having integrity and being grateful for everything, right? I spent so many years of my life complaining and looking at what I didn't have. I started looking at what I had, what was good in my life, and being grateful for that. And in being able to humble yourself and understand that you weren't better than anybody there, no matter what their crime was, no matter who they were, no matter what their situation was, you were not better than them. And that your station in life is one that you've earned, good or bad, right? And you have to work with what you have. Being empathetic towards others, I had no empathy. I had to learn how to be empathetic, and then being responsible, and not just doing the things that needed to be done before you do the things you wanted to do. And sometimes they coincided, but if they didn't, making sure you took care of business before you took care of pleasures. And being responsible for your actions every day. Being able to say, hey, I did that. And if you're gonna admit to it, then I want it to be good. If I was gonna do it, I wanted it to be good. If I was gonna hold myself responsible for it, I wanted it to be something positive. I didn't want to be responsible for negativity. And Keith can attest, man. By the time I left, man, I was in a really good position in my life. And I was, and it's not just what I was doing in prison; it was just how I lived my life. I mean, what did Captain Moreno want us to do? He wanted us to hold a class.
Your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
He wanted us to hold a class for sex offenders,
Oh yeah.
because we treated them we didn't, a lot of people treat them bad. My thing was I'm not going to treat them bad. I'm still judgmental in the sense that I don't like what they're in prison for, but I also feel that if I block their opportunity to change, then I'm culpable for the next time they commit a crime, because now I got in their way. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to be that, even if it's just a tiny bit culpable. you know. And that doesn't just go for them; it goes for everybody on the yard, from the worst dope fiend to the biggest wannabe gang member, whatever their situation was. If they came into a class and they wanted to change, I helped them change. If they came in a class and they were goofing up, I'd call them out on it, but I never blocked them for changing,
Right.
you know, or seeking change, you know, because I believe that we all kind of worked with each other and help each other. And if we don't, we're screwed. You know, then we're responsible. If we told somebody they can't come to our class because we just didn't like them, we didn't like the way they lived, then we blocked them from learning. And if we did that, then next time they went and did something stupid, we were culpable for it, even if it's just minutely.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
You're
Mark, you have
welcome.
any other questions tonight?
Huh?
Everyone's just listening. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any questions for any of the guys that are here tonight? If there's any questions, just type them out. I think everyone's just enjoying the conversation.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's just, that's what Lauren said too. I've just enjoyed listening. Yeah.
Finn ran in here like 30.
Keith, what gang were you in?
What gang was I in?
Yeah, that comes from Jamie
That's the
Jack. What's that?
Oh, so it was, I really don't like to talk about specifically what gang, but it was a white prison gang.
Oh, okay.
But I don't talk about it. Like I don't say the name, but it was a white prison gang.
Okay. Me too. Excellent live tonight.
You know, ironically, my mother's Mexican and my dad's white, and I look white. So when I came into prison at 18, like, you know, I got in where I fit in, and you know, what was crazy was everybody that I grew up with as a kid. You know, I remember getting out of prison the first time, and people hearing like, "Man, you were in there running with white."
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Not even like that. One of your best friends growing up was black. Like, and that's the thing about that belief system is it starts to get molded and shaped in here where you're not an individual. You don't have no identity. Your identity is something that's a label that somebody pushes upon you. Like, you know, and there's various reasons why we take on that identity, whether it's for, you know, insecure. I didn't think I could stand on my own 2 feet. It's safety and security. It's a sense of belonging. Like, if they would have said, "Hey, you're going to run with the Southerners or the Northerners or whatever," like at that age, I would have been okay, whatever. But you know, because of the way I looked, that was expected.
Right.
It's white, you know.
Yeah. And Jenny says, appreciate all your truths. We all can learn from each other.
Yeah.
Thank you to all your guests for being here, sharing your experience and growth. So this is from Jamie. A reason I asked because our daughter asked, she asked why, and she asked why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird because when I first came to prison, I had this, you know, I believed that you had to be a part of something in order to survive it here. Like I didn't grow up like, you know, like Robert grew up with a gang in her neighborhood. Like I didn't grow up like that.
Right.
Like, you know, even though they had little gangs, you know, little thug kids or whatever, I was a little thug kid, but I wasn't like officially like a gang.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And then state prison. But I felt like I had to belong to something because I wanted that acceptance. I wanted acceptance from people. You know, as dysfunctional and warped as that belief system was, like I wanted to belong to something. You know, I felt like I didn't have a choice.
Right.
And then it became a lifestyle. And then it became an excuse to justify what I was doing, the harm that I was doing, causing myself, not just myself, but my loved ones. You know, my family, and everybody around me, I convinced myself that, it's just a way of survival,
Right. And Jamie says, Kaylani will have lots of questions for you when you call home tonight.
I'm sure she will.
All right, Robert, see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just always, like, when it comes to specific names of the gang, like, even when I do my writing, Marge, I never recognize them like that.
Right.
And it's not just not being guilty or ashamed of it. Like, it's just that I don't even like speaking it into existence. Even when I wrote about it in my book.
Right.
I avoided that. Because every gang is a gang. Every gang is functions on the same mechanisms of power control. To me, that's all it is. They paint it up to be something what it is, cultural, race, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not. It's all about power control, manipulation.
I understand that.
All the same crap.
Yeah.
And I think Keith hit it on the head when he said right now too. Like when you start like naming specific gangs and specific things like that, it kind of gives it a power. It kind of gives it a power. It gives it a label. It gives it a name. But and that's probably like, well, I guess that's what we're trying to avoid, or not avoid it, but we just rather not give it that power anymore, or give it that recognition anymore.
Yeah, I like fighting it with the truth.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Right.
Yeah, the truth. I like saying it with the truth. We'll call back one more time, Margie, and then we'll start wrapping it up.
All right, let's do it. All right, Robert, we're going to do one more call. Okay.
All right.
This will be our last call, and then we'll wrap it up. Thank you for the follow. And Jenny, thank you for that. I appreciate that. So it seems like we're going to have more guests next week. I guess a lot of them had a lot to do this week, or they got it, I think, with the holiday, well, not holiday, with Halloween, and we had to move it, it just, so next week, it seems like everyone's going to be here.
This is Global Telling. You have a prepaid call from
Keith Erickson.
Thank
an
you.
incarcerated individual at the Pleasant Valley State Prison, Coalinga, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I usually lower, but I'm just going to let it go so I don't have to
This
change.
call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call.
Okay.
Thank you for using Global
okay.
Link.
All right, so we're back.
So another thing came up in our group last night too was the need for a sponsor. Like any 12-step program, it requires you to eventually seek out, us. I hate how it's labeled a sponsor because it's basically just somebody that you feel that you can start to trust within the group.
Right.
That struts the path, that struts the same path, of recovery. Like that's who you're going to seek out to give you some kind of direction and support, moral support, physical support in your recovery. And I know sometimes when guys go in there and they hear a sponsor, they're like, wow, now all of a sudden he's going to be my accountability partner. I got to reveal everything to this guy. And I think a lot of guys get discouraged in the beginning because they feel like they're going to have to just dump everything on this guy, and this guy can use this against me. And especially in this setting in prison where, we're learning to trust all over again. In these steps, Marge, is, when you start to get past step 4, where you do a selfless moral inventory, and then, step 5 requires you to do self-admittance to God, and then to God, or whatever your higher power is, and then to somebody, another human being, which is, identified as your so-called sponsor.
Right.
That's a big deal because here you are, you list your inventory, you write down all the
Makes
ugliness, you identify what you did, the nature of your wrong, and then here you are having to speak that into existence and tell somebody that you're supposed to build this bond with, this trust factor with. So for a lot of guys, that's hard to go out and just find a sponsor. So we, I always try to steer that into another direction where just having somebody that, because when you go into the groups and you sit in that group, there's people that stand out to you that you know that, man, this guy, you're taking bits and pieces from certain people, and you're going to feel closer to certain people than you are, otherwise not close to some other people. So, having that person, it's essential in those circles of community circles of recovery to have those people that you can, because not just outside in your family, like, of course I have my wife and my, my brother and my support team outside of that, but you want to be in a setting where there's people that are amongst you every day that are relatable, that have trudged that path, that because that's where your strength comes from, that's where your faith comes from. So a lot of guys in class yesterday you could tell they had the issue with just picking a sponsor, because they didn't want what they had to share with that person used against them, because it has to be safe. So for me, I never went out and said, hey, I want this guy as my sponsor. This guy is my sponsor like this. I just, like Tommy said, I surrounded myself with people that were going to lift me up, but also were going to call me on my bullshit too. Not let me, that were going to hold me accountable, not let me get away with, so I had to be accountable as well. Right. And that's what a real sponsor is. They guide you, but they also, they're able, they're going to let you know when you're slipping, so.
Absolutely.
Well, I think they gotta hold you accountable, right? Because they're not doing you no favors if they don't, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anybody have anything lastly to share tonight before we wrap it up?
No, I'm good, man. It was very informative.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah. We'll have Vanessa and Edwin on next week. Next week, G is our third week, our final week for CGA segment. So, if you want to join us again next week, let me know, or let Margie know, and then we'll have you back in again on the platform. I want to hear more from Edwin as well, because he's one of the original guys from the CGA. So I want to hear more what these guys have to share. And Vanessa as well, because she's so insightful, and she, like
Absolutely.
I said, they do the community meetings out there. And hopefully we can get some more people out there that can make the time or find the time to share with us as well. And hopefully Tommy can make time to come back and be with us as well.
Yeah, and there was a junior just was in here, and he said he will be in next week when Vanessa's here.
Junior's one of the founding fathers of CGA.
One of the founding fathers was just here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he'll be here.
And,
he'll be here next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and Robert, if you want to join us next week, you're more than welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'll be in touch with you. We'll message.
Call and/or telephone
And I appreciate you joining tonight. I really do. I appreciate you.
No, it was a pleasure. And thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it, and it's always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Edwin said he would be back also next week. Yep. And everyone's saying thank you, Keith, Robert, Tommy, for being here tonight.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me. You guys have a good night. You have a good night, Marge.
Thank you, you too.
Tomorrow.
Thank you. And I'll be in touch with you. I'll message you.
Thank you, Keith. Love you, buddy.
All right, I'll be right here.
All right. Thank
Tommy,
you.
good night, Tommy.
All right, you guys have a good
Buddy. Love you.
Bye. All right, Tommy. Love
All
you.
right, Margie.
All right.
Love you,
I'll
Margie.
talk to you, Keith. Love you. Good night.
Love you guys.
What's
Thank
up?
you.
What are you doing this weekend? What's going on this weekend? You just gonna relax, or
I'm just gonna relax
Uh-huh.
this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check in on you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'll message you. Maybe we can do
Make sure
a
you get the
call.
pool.
Maybe we can do a call Sunday.
Okay.
I want to hear your
Oh,
voice.
yeah. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Make sure you get in the pool.
I'll
Make sure
be
you
in
get
the pool tomorrow.
All right.
All
Love
right. Bye. Marge,
Bye, Marge.
relax. What?
Thank you for everything.
Oh, Tommy, thank you. You always come through for me.
I try
Always.
sometimes.
You
I
al-
try.
You do. Anytime I say, Tommy, I need you. Help. You always come through.
I'm gonna be on the road, so remind me. I'll be on the road next Friday.
Oh, you will? Okay.
Yeah, but I'll be able to get on. I'll have somebody else drive. So
Okay. Yeah, I'll remind you.
All
All right.
right. You guys have a good night.
All right, Tommy. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Have a good weekend. I'm going to relax this weekend, Lauren. I really am. I need to. What a week I had. It's been crazy. It's been crazy this week. But, well, it turned out to be good. In fact, I mean, I know we expected more people. I don't know what happened. It seems like everybody came in, but everybody's ready for next week. I don't know. But, so we'll see. You know, I'm sure it'll be next week. And I was getting, I know, right? I got a message. That's who I was texting. Vanessa had to go. She'll be back next week. I want to go over to Favorite It right now. I want to tell you more about that conversation. So we're going to end it here. I appreciate everyone for joining. I'm going to go over to Favorite It to say goodnight. So everyone, thank you so much for joining. It was a great conversation tonight. So we're going to go over to Favorite It for a little while, and I will be back on Monday. So thank you so much again, and we will continue the CGA. We will be talking with everyone for week 3 next Friday. So we'll be over on Favorite It tonight, and if I don't see you over there tonight, we're going right over there after this. I will see you on Monday. Enjoy your weekend again. Thank you so much for joining. All right, good night. Bye.